because my life is very focused around issues of social justice as well. And so in the past, I've done work with West Papuan refugees, with asylum seekers and that sort of stuff, and various different sort of social activism type things as well. But part of sort of my questions over the last year as I've really gotten into the poetry stuff has been, how do I bring the two together? And part of that is in the content of my poems, but also in what I do with them. So I've actually, me and a number of other poets in Melbourne have brought together an organisation called the Centre for Poetics and Justice. And the whole focus of that centre is exactly that, is the bringing together of social engagement with this poetic art form.
Yeah.
And so we do a whole bunch of different stuff as an organisation, mainly going into places like schools and Indigenous communities, and sort of schools where kids are being kicked out of schools and now they're at these schools, that sort of thing, and just a whole bunch of different places that we go to where there's marginalised people, and go in there and use the poetic art form to give them a voice, to help them express their history and what's happened in their lives, and also to show them that it's not just expression, but it is a form of social engagement and social critique as well. So, so do a lot of workshops and that sort of thing. Got workshops coming up in sort of a general open public one coming up in July. If you check out cpj.org.au, if you're interested, you can do that. Yeah.
Right, and part of these workshops, you also give kids a chance to get their own thoughts down on paper and have a go themselves.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep, we do sort of poetry from the front, because a lot of the kids have misconceptions of what poetry is in just think of poetry as the rhyming couplets or Shakespeare or something like that. And so for us to come in and give them some pieces that are quite rap, hip-hop orientated, it sort of blows their mind in terms of what poetry is, and they begin to go, I could do some of that myself. And so then a lot of the time in the workshop is actually spent helping them discover their own voice and the words they want to use to describe their social existence and that sort of thing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right, so you have another piece for us.
I can certainly do another piece.
Confidently.
Maybe another justice-orientated piece. This one is a bit more of a rhythmic piece than anything else. It's called Boom Sha. Boom, sha boom, sha boom, sha where, boom, sha boom, sha boom. Sha boom boom sha boom sha boom sha where boom sha boom sha boom sha. There's a beat in the sound, in the rhythms of the night. There's a rhythm in the sound of these beats tonight. Boom boom sha boom sha boom sha where boom sha boom sha boom. For there's a rhythm in the world, there's a beat within our body, there's a beat within our body becoming a drumming, there's a beat within our body becoming a drumming, there's a drumming that is coming, humming hope and strumming something that'll set the rhythm in the world, a creeping up slowly. There's a rhythm in the world, it's creeping up slowly. There's a rhythm in the world, a new rhythm in the world, a new rhythm in the world. Like strings at the center were plucked by a mother, and vibrations of this earth found their rhythm in its beat, sending waves through the air, meeting each of us the same. Puts a beat in your brain, in your bosom once again. It puts a beat in your feet, puts a beat, it puts a beat in your body. So feel the beat and feel the rhythm. This beat's gonna tweet till it greets your feet, till the necessary movements of the way you move your body, of the wish you could have told me of the wasteland of our history, sounds a little more like the way it's always meant to be, drowning out the sounds of this sick society, sitting under leaves of this broken Bodhi tree, seeing past the debris that would not let me see until I hear the decree of what would be when there's a beat. There's a beat in your body, there's a beat. There's a beat on the street, there's a louder beat in this city than before. There's a better rhythm and it's knocking at your door. For the music we've been listening to, these sounds we've been hearing, these tracks they've been playing us, these melodies been tricking us, they taken us to spaces where the only way to place is to be like the rest of these busy bees, keeping gears of society oiled and spoiled and boiled just right for those of us playing on the top decks tonight, whilst those below, those disposed in the cargoes, who would expose, I suppose, that we are predisposed in our need to impose the rise of our own at the expense of any other bro or hoe who sells herself to make a buck, to keep her head above the suck of the water that fills fills her lungs, and pulls her down. She's about to drown, to taste the icy water, just an ignorant slaughter. When the iceberg hit the ship, its bows did rip, and yet we stay up here and sip our martinis dry, as the music they've been playing us, it blocks out the cry, and so we deny until we comply, and our tongues are tied and our ears are closed, and we cannot hear the rhythm of the beat within our bosom. No, we cannot hear the rhythm of the beat within our bosom. Would you hear the rhythm of the beat within your bosom? Or would you hear the rhythm of the beat within your bosom? There's a beat, so bang your drum. There's a beat, so bang your drum. There's a beat, there's another beat on the street, another boom on the boat, another womb in the tomb. It's reverberating in the waiting room. It's been waiting as the world's deflating, and you've been negating every day, sedating as you keep inflating in your lust to consume. When you just presume this ship will keep on sailing. No need to be bailing. You block out the wailing. You're just not listening to the sound of those on the decks below. They banging on the roof, can't you hear the beat? They're banging on the roof, can't you hear the beat? They're banging on the roof, can't you hear the beat? They're banging on the roof, can't you hear the beat? 'Cause there's a beat, so bang your drum. There's a beat, so bang your drum. There's a beat, and it's calling you to speak. There's a beat, and it's calling you to speak. So take up your pen, craft metaphors into the crust of this earth, and speak. Open your mouth, sing songs to the world, and speak. Speak, 'cause it's the only thing that you can do. Speak.
Marvellous, Joel.
Thank you.
Now, the last time I saw you do that, you were standing up and you had a bit more room, and you were banging your body and making all this noise.
I didn't know how the body beating would go on the radio. But yes, I do get into that poem very much so.
Excellent. And you find other people get into it too, that are affected by that one?
Yeah, definitely. It sort of starts off as in some ways a bit more of a fun piece, or just a bit more of a lively piece than a serious one, but it sort of draws people in and then seeks to hit them hard. Yep.
When you write the lyric for that, do you have the beat in mind at the time?
So that one, a lot of the poems sort of come out with a particular rhythm, and they just come out in that rhythm. But that one definitely was very much that case. Had a specific beat, and I wrote to that beat rather than just writing lyrics, and then it's very much more rhythm orientated than anything else.
And like you mentioned before, sometimes all your words might come out in half an hour, but I would imagine you still take quite some time on your performance as well, like developing your performance of what you've written, which would probably even be more time than what it takes to actually write the track.
Yeah, very much so. So in some ways there's a whole bunch of different edits that you do of it. So you write the initial one, I try and come back to that even a few days later and do another edit of that. But then as you begin to... So I try and memorize all my poems as well in terms of performance. It's a lot... You can get the message across a lot more if you're not reading from a page. And so as you memorize it, that's just through constant repetition. And so I have to drive half an hour to an hour to work each day. So that's my memorizing my poetry time spent in the car. But a lot of that really is just repetition. And as you repeat it, that's really when you work out. It's sort of another edit happens as to how the sounds best fall off your
nuances and things like that.
That's right. Yeah.
What sort of things can people do, the general public, the great unwashed out there, to improve things as far as social justice goes? Apart from, say, voting at the, 4-yearly elections, what sort of practical things are out there?
I mean, there's a huge number of things, and where to start on that question is a hard one. But part of, I think, what we can do things in small ways and in large ways, but I think the only way to get to the large ways is to start with the small. And so a big thing for me has been just sort of what I call everyday lifestyle reorientation around something that's larger than if so much of our society and unfortunately so much of our media is on about the Western dream and that you're number one and everything about life should be making yourself happy and comfortable and that sort of thing, regardless of the effect that has on other people and on the planet and that sort of thing. I think one of the big things we need to do is be challenging that. And so that happens in small ways through thinking a bit more about the things that we buy and where they've come from, and what's the processes they've gone through to end up in our hands, and who are the people that have been affected down the line in terms of that. So things like fair trade and those sort of movements that have tried to create some consciousness around consumer trade and that sort of thing.